the mission is to make wellness accessible, make it practical, and make it priority. Like, to not make it something that you feel like, oh, I'll do this if I can, or like if I have a lot extra. It's like, no, prioritize it, because if you learn to prioritize your wellness and put yourself first, again, you're going to show up in every other situation so much better. So that's our mission.
Welcome to Shaping Freedom with Lisan Basquiat, the podcast where we help you unlock your potential and redefine what it means to be free. I'm your host, Lisan Basquiat. I'm a former corporate executive, a life strategist, and the founder of Shaping Freedom. With a background spanning corporate, artistic, and personal development, I bring a unique perspective to empowering others. Listen in to discover inspiring stories and practical insights that will help you reclaim your life and rewrite your narrative. My intention is for you to gain the tools and motivation to be free in your relationships, your communities, and within yourself. This, my friends, is Shaping Freedom.
Have you ever considered what it would be like to be greater than something else? To be greater than your anxieties, greater than the toxic people in your life, or even greater than yourself? In today's episode, I sit down with the founders of Be Greater Than, a lifestyle and wellness brand created by Ashley Everett, Jasmine Harper, and Randy Bonds. They created this brand for people to liberate themselves from self-imposed limitations. And this is part of a two-part series. In this episode, which is part one, Ashley, Randy, and I talk about the broader meaning of what Be Greater Than is and how their organization builds community and helps people to live a little bit easier. Ashley has been a dancer for over 17 years, dancing on The Masked Singer and also for Beyonce. She mentors and advocates for self-love and worth and inspires others to prioritize their well-being as well. Randy has spent over a decade in the entertainment industry as a publicist. He's redefined the art of engagement by forging powerful connections between talent, brands, and underrepresented groups. In this episode, Ashley, Randy, and I talk about the broader meaning of what Be Greater Than is and how their organization builds community in support of wellness. Part two will focus on the lessons that Jasmine, the third founder, is learning on her journey through new parenthood. In this conversation, we talk a bit about what makes someone greater than and how this organization's brand is helping their communities. Here's my conversation with Ashley and Randy. This is the Shaping Freedom with Lisan Basquiat podcast, and I am Lisan Basquiat. And in the room with me today is the team that founded a company called Be Greater Than. And I'm just going to go ahead and read some of what you wrote about it, which is it's a wellness and lifestyle brand that is dedicated to advancing holistic well-being by promoting mental, emotional, and physical health, which is all right up my alley, which is the reason why I'm so excited that we've encountered each other this lifetime. This company is founded by Ashley Everett, Jasmine Harper, who's not here, and Randy C. Bonds. And this brand focuses on self-care as essential maintenance rather than a luxury, and that you're aiming to democratize wellness and make it accessible to all. Okay. So let's start with this. What I'd love to do is, first of all, let's talk about Be Greater Than. Like what, I know I read kind of the official description of this organization that you all have founded. And it's also a movement of sorts. Okay. So I'd love to hear more about like, what is Be Greater Than? What does that mean?
You want to start with how it got started?
Yeah, you start. Go ahead.
It actually started with Jasmine. Jasmine woke up one day, sent the text to Ashley asking to meet. And, literally a conversation about her wanting to start something for herself after becoming a mom led to what is now Be Greater Than. I'll let you talk a little bit more about that text and, how that came about.
Yeah. And I feel like, Jasmine's like a little sister of mine. Mm-hmm. So we're 4 years apart and I don't have any sisters. So I took her under my wing.
You just have to take people and just claim them as your family. That's how it works.
Absolutely. And she has claimed me as her she says like big brother sometimes. I'm like, yes, big bro it is. But yeah, we're like family. So when she sent that text to me, I knew she meant it because she doesn't like send things. She doesn't bring things up like that aren't something that she really like needs and means, you know? So I knew like she was ready for her self-love journey and like her pouring into her season, which I feel like I had started a few years prior, you know? So I was happy to receive that text and be like, okay, yes, she's entering a new season, a new chapter. Let's hear what she has to say. She was like, if Randy's available, bring him. I know that people see the magic that Randy and I have done and created throughout years and decades now at this point together. And so they know that we have a friendship, but then because of the history, we can also create really cool, awesome work and like magic together. Yeah. So she's like, if Randy's free, bring him, you know, thinking maybe he could just bring some like creative side to it, maybe just a business side, a writer side, a publicist side. Yeah. We didn't know. We didn't know what we were like talking about, you know, but we go to like one of our favorite ramen restaurants here in LA and sit down. She brings her daughter and all that. And she basically says she wants to, at this point, she was thinking of like a dance thing, you know, she's like, I want to create something for dance, for dancers, for young girls, for young women, whatever, you know, thinking maybe a convention of some sort. And with lots of, I guess, talking, but not anything that was like crazy because it was just all organic conversations and organic flowing ideas. We really like eventually landed on be greater than. It was definitely like a process of elimination and conversation, you know.
Because really the whole goal was to like take the experience that we have now, kind of realize we're kind of becoming the vets in a sense, like we're making that transition. How do we pour into the next generation and pour it to them the right way? Teach them some of the do's and don'ts, but like teach them how to have boundaries, teach them how to be firm about their rates, what the rate should be, just different insight that they don't always get.
That and we felt like we learned a little later on. We're like, this could be taught, you know,
right. And like kind of narrow the amount of time, shorten the amount of time that it takes.
Educate them
to get
sooner.
There. Set the stage for me though, before I want to hear that and set this. So when is this?
This is less than a year ago.
July 27th, 2023.
One more time.
Wow.
July 27th, 2023.
Yes.
Okay, we're coming right up on that.
A year. Yeah.
Okay, that's actually the day after my daughter's birthday. My daughter Jessica, who you all met a couple of weeks ago. Okay, July 27th.
Like right before that too, the 24th. Yeah.
What? Okay. I believe I have so many Leos in my life.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he had just had a birthday and stuff, and she was in town with. I think we were shooting Masked Singer at the time, and she's like, "This is crazy trying to juggle this with a daughter and all of that." You know.
So what were you all doing? Like, what was actually? I know that Jasmine had just. How old is Jasmine's child?
Her daughter's 2 now.
So she was a baby.
Yeah, she was like 1.
Okay. And so what were you all doing? Because the pandemic ended and you're kind of like...
We were shooting a season of Masked Singer and we were dancing on Masked Singer.
Okay.
It's crazy because I'm actually getting ready to shoot it again tomorrow or something. So yeah, like still doing Masked Singer.
Okay, so you were in the middle of Masked Singer. You were kind of doing that. Yeah. And she's just like, listen.
She actually too, like I think I had talked to the creative director and stuff and I was like, bring my sis Jazz in because Jazz lives in Atlanta. Okay. But she flew out to shoot the TV show because she was like, I want to work and I want to like get back in dance and TV and all that stuff, you know? So she came out, flew out, brought her daughter out. It was juggling the Masked Singer schedule and like TV world, which is wild, having her daughter and trying to like navigate babysitting with her mom and her sisters and stuff like that and being out here in LA. And then we sat down and talked about this. So in the midst of all that chaos.
I think that's important to know also because I think sometimes people imagine that like you're up on a mountain someplace.
Yeah, like on vacation.
It's like I know, let's do this thing.
No, but this is like out of the in chaos. Time of desperation, you know, comes like your greatest moments because you're like, help. I'm drowning.
Yeah. And there's no life raft, so let's build one.
Right? Literally, that's what it's been. Like for us, we didn't necessarily have people to navigate the way for us. All of us are like pioneers in our own right, but not because we wanted to be, because we had to be, sort of. Like we were thrust into roles. without somebody to serve as an example. And so we kind of had to build these pathways now. And there are some who decide to like pick up the bricks as they go because they don't want to leave the trail and let the next person know what to do. And I know that we're taught you shouldn't let your left hand know what's in the right, etc. But I think there's something about shining light on the truth, shining light on authenticity in a way that allows people to say, well, hey, I want to do that too. I don't want to necessarily do what you do, but I want to feel how you feel.
Right.
And so I resonate with that. How can I experience that for myself? How can I follow my own yellow brick road?
Yeah.
I don't need to follow yours, but just tell me your process, you know? And that's kind of what we're doing with this. It's just like, hey, here's our process. We're all on this road together. So like, how can we now hold each other accountable? How can we inform each other? How can we create assets for each other? How can we align and create like partnerships that aren't just strategic, but that are also genuine, right? So that beyond just the connection of, okay, we do great business together, how do we really show up for each other in real life? Can we show up for each other in real life, you know? And I think that's what really makes this thing that works for us work, because it's just like we're genuinely family, we're genuinely friends. So it's like we're showing up together and we're just inviting others into our journey.
I was at the event that you all did, the Art of Self-Care, a couple of weeks ago.
That you moderated at.
Yeah, I moderated at.
Thank you.
In downtown. Was it downtown?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Hyatt Creative Studios.
You know, I'm not from LA, so I'm still trying to figure out. I live in San Diego, and LA is so big, it's vast, and I don't know which areas are which. And one of the things that I observed about that day was how safe and welcoming a space it was. You know, it was really a beautiful moment, and there was like really beautiful magic created in that space, and that experience that you all created for the folks that, you know, came, you know, for the community. It was really, really beautiful.
That's what we wanted.
Yeah,
right.
All the people that were there are people who genuinely just believed it, and they said, hey, I want to support. How can I support? How can I help? You need me to check people in? You need me to help with this? You need me? Everybody just literally like volunteered to come and show up and say, hey, I want to do this. Have you thought about doing that? Can we include this? We're like, okay, sure. Yes, let's do it. Like, let's make it happen. And so I think that speaks to the authenticity too, as well, of the people who are in that space. Like they're so about it. And it's just something, it's nothing like it, you know, in a place that's full of smokes and mirrors. It's beautiful and refreshing to attract and align with people who see that there's a bigger picture, and that picture starts within. It starts with self. It's not about the mask we wear, but it's about who we are behind the mask and embracing that.
Absolutely. So tell me something about, because I'm sure people are wondering, be greater than, what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, okay. So like it kind of stemmed from, I think I brought it up first, and I was like, you know, that trending thing, it's like this over that, like pizza over pasta, or like, you know, ice cream over candy or something. And so I was like, we should do like be greater than humble or something like that, right? Because we were talking about humble, and the meaning of humble and the definition of humble, and the fact that we're taught and like, you need to be humble, stay humble.
Where it's like humble. A punishment.
Yes.
It's a punishment like, versus a virtue.
Yeah. And like what it really means. And we were like, hold on, like being humble is like dimming your light.
Yeah. Like it literally means to like
to
lower
yourself. One's light and self.
Like that's literally the definition. Like look it up. You'll see it. Like it's the literal definition.
The literal definition. And so we were like, hold on, we should be encouraging people to like turn it up. You know?
Because it's just like if I'm wearing false humility to make you comfortable, you're not really comfortable. Because then if you show up in the next place when someone's being their real self, you're going to find out that you're not as comfortable as you thought you were, because you were only comfortable because I was downplaying. So I'm not causing you to be your best self. It's just like the person who throws the game and lets you win just because it's like, but that's not a real challenge. Like I want to win because I won, not because you like do it. Like don't have pity for me, you know?
And then you don't. And then what that also does is it makes you unable to show up in spaces where people are shining their own light. Right? So then it becomes this fight to dim light, like dimming your own and dimming other people's. And then everyone is low. And I loved how many times the word authenticity popped up in the information that you shared at this event and in your bios and in the conversation that you have about this organization and this movement. I think it's a movement personally, right? Because authenticity is how we truly allow people to see the truth of a situation. If everyone's pretending, then what are we actually doing? It's like that scripture, love your neighbor as you love yourself. It's the humility, the being humble conversation reminds me of that, where all the focus is love your neighbor, right? But what we forget is the comma, as you love yourself. Until you truly love yourself, until you truly accept who you are and become authentic to yourself, you can't fake it to give that to someone else. You can try. A lot of us try, right? But you're going to wind up in a ditch. So it kind of reminds me of the same thing. It's like, let's show up as the beautiful human beings that we are.
Yeah, lean into that person.
Lean into it, right? With the gifts that we've been given and the talents that we have to express. And let's see what life looks like when there's like light everywhere. Like, that's beautiful.
Yeah. It's like a beautiful sunny day, right?
Yes.
Like, we appreciate overcast sometimes. It gives good lighting.
Sometimes,
But it's just like, at the end of the day, we all would prefer that. That's why we pay extra money to live in a place like LA, right?
Yes.
Like, to get that, but it's just like, if you lived in a place that was always gloomy, you would literally be sad. You need the light. Like, it gives you energy. It gives you the nutrients that you need, right? And it's just like, light from people is the same way. It gives you information, inspiration. It causes impact. It causes growth and development. It causes, redirection. It's like, oh, okay, I've been doing this, and they say that's terrible form. Maybe I should try it like this, right? So it's just like that light, literally the natural light that you get, from the earth and from the sun. It's the same thing with people if you allow it to be.
Exactly.
It's only, again, and at the end of the day, weren't we all afraid of the dark? Once upon a time,
yes, we were.
When did we start? Like when did we go through that era of I want to be like gothic and like just embrace
be in the dark, right?
Yeah, I don't want that. Like that's gloomy. I want light.
What have you learned? So you've been doing this for a little. At the time of this recording, you've been doing this for, and actually, we'll just say like happy anniversary, because we're gonna release this right around the time that you're coming up on your anniversary to really amplify it, right? So happy anniversary. And after this year, what have you learned? What have you learned about yourselves? Like, what have you pulled up out of yourselves?
I feel like I've learned that the more you really actually do pour into your authentic self, the more people you do attract genuinely. And people want to follow and support that, like I've learned that this is a purpose for us. This is a bigger purpose. It is a movement. And it's needed and necessary for so many, In a nutshell. I feel like I could just elaborate. He's going to elaborate.
No, like honestly, it's been so many things, but I think one of the biggest things is really when you water your own garden, you do attract and you don't have to chase. And it's like made me so much more firm about everything in every other area of my life now. It's just like, because I see like, oh, wow, like I just planted myself and I started to mind my business and drink my water. So I'm hydrating myself and I'm minding my business, and it's attracting all of this. And I don't have, I keep saying I've been the easiest client. Like we've been the easiest client, like to push, like starting with self, like watering our own garden has been the easiest garden to maintenance and maintain. Because it's like when you water other people's gardens, they have their preferences, right? And it doesn't make it wrong. But it's just
that's part of
I don't want to fight you for your thing. Exactly. Do you? I'm going to literally do me. And it's like crazy that doing me is actually blessing way more people than it was when I was just doing me. Like when I would just share my stuff about the things I was pouring into, it's just like, okay, cool, that's nice. But it's just like when I'm actually sharing my story, the very thing that I was afraid to share, the very thing that I thought I would take to the grave, that's what's aligning with people. That's what's resonating with people, because that's what's real. And people are like, wow, like you gave us permission to breathe and to be ultimately. So now it's okay. So now that you can be, how do you be greater than? And that looks different for each person at different times through even different seasons.
So is the be greater than really about the way you're assessing and the way you're showing up in the world for yourself?
Oh, completely. Like, it's really saying to be, literally to be, simply to be, not be this, not be that, but just to be is greater than anything you could throw on the other side of that.
Oh,
Like, than any word you could throw on the other side of it. There's nothing greater than to just be. And I think when we're trying so hard to figure out how to be, it's just like, I play tennis. And if I don't have a steady, like,
too.
oh, we have to play.
I played tennis as a
like
child. It's been a while, but I'd love to. I just something about hitting the ball.
So you'll relate to this. Like, you know, when you have your mind made up about where you want to go and you like have a seamless, like smooth stroke, you flow with your ball.
That's right.
But if you think about it, it's like the Matrix glitch. Right. It's like, wait, I don't know which shot I want to hit.
You take your eyes off of it and you get too
and it messes you up. It's like, it's better to go for your shot and to learn because you overhit it than to like miss because you underhit. Like, I'd rather over deliver than under deliver on any given day because I can always pull back.
Right.
But to show that I have the capacity to show up, that's harder if I'm coming from under.
Exactly.
You know? But if I could be greater than and you need me to bring it down, I can do that. But if I'm required to again somehow,
it's so much harder to push.
Do the opposite.
Right, to try to get
nobody
something
wants
moving.
that. Like, and we've tried to crawl from the bottom, and nobody wants to help with that. But when you're already doing something that shows that, hey, I'm firm about where I am and I'm settled in who I am, people don't have to figure it out. So they can just show up and say, well, great, we get it. Let's do this. And that's what's happening.
Wow. Yeah, it's really like the reminder to pour into yourself, to continue to pour into yourself. Wow. We're doing these jobs for other people and while we have these other bosses or these other dreams and things that we're trying to achieve but take a lot out of us, you know? Don't forget about you at the end of the day. If you are not great, you can't be great for anyone else. Not your partner, not your kids, not your family, you know, like nothing.
It's a ripple effect. Everybody will feel whatever you're like vibrating. So if you're like vibrating up, people are gonna feel that and they're gonna run to that. And if you're vibrating low, they're going to also see that. And some will run to that because sometimes misery loves company.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Sometimes.
But
a lot
then,
of the times,
you know, what's real, like, is going to either separate from you at that time because they can't handle that if they're trying to vibrate high.
Right.
And what happens if you're trying to vibrate high while somebody's trying to vibrate low? You get dissonance, maybe.
Absolutely.
You know? It ain't always a beautiful harmony. And so if I vibrate low and we trauma bond, like, what do we grow from there? Because if I'm starting to vibrate higher, but you want to still vibrate low, again, that dissonance comes.
There's going to be that.
But if I'm vibrating high, you have to be able to vibrate high too to even get to me, which is where that 1% comes from.
That's right.
You know, and we're not doing 1% for exclusivity, you know, but more so it's like that's who's flying up here.
Do you know that we have a line of Shaping Freedom wellness products? Each are beautifully crafted and designed to support you in cherishing your mind, body, emotions, and soul. Carve out a sanctuary in your life with our Luxe sustainable yoga and meditation mats, essential oil candles, and more. Embrace self-care and reflection with every item, lovingly created to enhance your daily practice of spending time on you. Elevate your wellness journey with Shaping Sanctuary Collection because you deserve to feel balanced, nurtured, and inspired. Visit shapingsanctuary.com for more information.
Yeah, it's not the it is. There is a level of exclusivity to that because so much of what has become normalized is to be in that place of misery, to be in that place of, I don't like my life, I don't like this, you know, and there are a lot of things that are happening in the world that are not cool at all.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things. And one of the things that I learned in NLP is that there are 126 bits, right? So in any second, you're taking in 126 bits of information. Okay. And even right now, like there's a camera and there's this, and Ryan's over there and he's scratching his face or something. And you two are sitting here and you're both comfortable and, you know, whatever. Right. But we choose which out of the millions of pieces of information that are floating around us right now in this moment, we're choosing which 126 bits that we're able to process that we're actually going to grab out of this moment. Right. And so I think that's what I'm hearing when you, Randy, and Ashley both talk about vibrating higher, right? That's a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not at all. But it's just like working out. It's not easy, but you like the results and you feel better. And honestly, when you start to get through it, you do it easier.
Exactly.
Right?
It takes practice.
Yes.
Because if you're walking down the street and something happens, you can either spend the next 4 hours of your life, your precious life, talking about the fact that somebody bumped into you on the street, or I don't know, somebody rolled their eyes, whatever.
Literally.
Whatever you thought it was, right? Or you can focus on, oh my God, it is such a beautiful day outside.
Yeah, I already forgot that person.
It's not even part of your. It's not part of your moment. That's not the history that you're writing for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So, but we have to choose.
Yeah,
100%.
it really is a choice. Yes, and that's a big thing too about this. Is like you have to choose to be greater than.
That's right.
And choose to pour into you so you can be greater than.
Exactly.
So then it's just a lifestyle, and like it's just part of your everyday.
Yeah.
And I think we learn too by being greater than and being intentional about that pouring into self. It's giving ourselves permission to be selfish, and it's then freeing others to do the same. And learning that selfish is not this bad word that we've been taught it is. Like, no, we have been taught to be selfless so that we could be lowly and we can help everybody. And it's just like, at this point, at least I've learned that I don't want to just be the help. I want to be a part. And I don't mean that other people and that there's not a time to be the help.
Absolutely.
There are times like we still show up for each other as the help for each other and for things we believe in.
Right.
But it's like, understanding that at this point in my profession, I want to be a partner. And so that comes with a different mentality. Because when you're the help, you're like, well, I'm just doing my part. When you're a partner, you're just like, every part matters. So I don't care if I have to give 90% and the only side can only give 10. That's what it's going to be. Like, it's going to get done regardless because it has to be. And not for me to say, oh, I did more or you did less, but because it needs to be done. So if you only have the capacity to 10, do 10. I'm happy to carry 90 for you. I'm grateful because no matter what the difference is, this partnership only works if all of us are in it. And I don't care how big or small it may seem. Every piece of the puzzle matters. And so when you have that mentality, you go back to that place that you're serving. You go back to that place where you're carrying a crown and you carry it differently with more pride and with more honor because it's like, I want to serve as if I'm serving for myself. How would I serve me? How would I show up for me? I'm going to show up that same way. And if I'm practicing wellness, if I'm practicing like being selfish in a good way, in a healthy way, that I'm going to be intentionally selfish about the people I'm serving too and make sure that their needs are met the way I would want somebody to meet mine.
I'd love for the audience to know the mission and the vision. So maybe one of you can take one. I don't know.
Okay. You start.
Okay.
You choose.
I'll say the mission. The mission is to make wellness accessible, make it practical, and make it a priority. Like to not make it something that you feel like, oh, I'll do this if I can, or like if I have a little extra. It's like, no, prioritize it, because if you learn to prioritize your wellness and put yourself first, again, you're going to show up in every other situation so much better. So that's our mission.
Okay.
Yeah. And our vision, I mean, we have a lot of things in store. I will say that today, we officially signed with a literacy agency.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Be greater than, and also all three of us as individuals.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
That is
one thing, for example. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, all around this year anniversary. And, it's just really beautiful to see, like, when you are aligning purpose with the right people, timing as well, with experience and passion, it just, things fall into place the way that they're supposed to.
Congratulations.
But our vision, we want it to be a lifestyle for everyone, and we want to take this everywhere, all over the world. We want it to be accessible to everybody. So,
yeah, I think it's so many things from, writing a book to producing a podcast to like releasing content that just reminds people, like those daily like reminders to be greater than, to choose to be greater than.
We want to do wellness retreats like what we did here all over the world.
Literally.
You should. Those were, the word should. It would be amazing if you could do that.
It will be amazing.
Because it is such a gift. It is such a gift
Yeah.
And that's what we found.
That you're
like
able
it
to
was
do that
such
with.
an easy alignment. Like it was such an organic alignment. We had over 200 people RSVP for that event, and that was our first time doing anything.
And we
LA.
were like, maybe 75. It's a good
Literally.
number that we were aiming for.
Yeah.
You were packed.
Like
You had
I
a
came
lot
out of
going
the
on
session, and
that
I
day.
was amazed. So like, whoa, like where these people come from?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and again, people who wanted it, who
beautiful.
just found it online and said, "Hey, we want to be here.
I know.
We want to like."
We did another interview like the night before on the radio, and he was getting phone calls like, "How do I sign up for this?" Like,
literally,
it was amazing. It was really amazing.
Wow.
So
your vision is take this movement, take it on the road.
Take it on the road. You'll be able to see it, feel it, touch it, like, experience it.
There are books. There's
the podcast.
There will be
podcast,
visuals, podcasts, content, of course.
Conversation happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Workshops, everything. You know, like, because there's it's not always just this big, like, deep, you know, like, thing of like, let's go and do deep breathing and yoga. Like, we have those things. We had, you know, conscious breathing. We had yoga. We had a sound bath. This week, we have a game night. And that's all about adult gameplay that's taking people from the industry who normally meet in high stress situations like red carpets and movie premieres and things, and giving them a chance to come and like enjoy a night of games.
Yes.
Black owned games as well by Black creatives. So it's also like, and it's not like just the games, like it's not the games by just your cousin. Like it's actual games that you know, like a Lyrically Correct or Black Card Revolt. Like these Black owned creators that actually are alive and still here for you to come and see these people.
Was it online?
Yeah, we just announced it. Yeah,
I know. Like within the last 24 hours, I saw something. Okay, when is that?
Literally this Friday.
Damn it! I won't be
Come
here.
back. But no, like, you know, that's not some deep retreat. That's just literally about breaking down boundaries, breaking down walls, and being able to come into a new
safe space to have fun.
A safe space to have fun.
Is key.
You know, I run Soulful Saturdays down in San Diego.
Oh yeah,
and it's the same thing. And I think the thing is that people were so focused on the work, and the work is important, whatever the work is for us, right? But my goodness, with everything that's happening in the world today and just adulting, right? The opportunity to just come and be around people and laugh and play games. And or do yoga up on the roof like you all were doing.
That's
or
good for your mental health.
Like it's wonderful for your mental health.
Yeah.
And so yes, the workshops, and this is from a lady who runs workshops, right? Yes, the workshops. Yes, right? Let's get into your particular obstacle and what's going on for you. And the way to make wellness and emotional and mental well-being a part of our lives is to make it just as normalized and just as habitual as brushing your teeth every day. Right? Like, what am I doing for myself? Drinking water, taking a nap.
Honestly, even to go a little deeper, it's giving people permission to stand up in the middle of an audience of strangers and say, "Hey,
that's right.
I'm dealing with depression."
That's right.
How often can you do that? You can't do that at work necessarily. You know, I read something today that said we thought HR was really for us, the people, but HR is really to protect the company.
Absolutely.
And so when you start to really like understand the narratives for what it's supposed to be, not what we've made it to be, not what we've been taught it to be,
want it to be,
literally,
because that's a big thing. It's kind of the expectation thing that you were talking about, Ashley, where it's like, I want you to be an apple tree. And it's like, I'm never going to be an apple tree. So just like give that up.
And when you realize that there's a big aha that comes on that either causes you to move together or move apart. Because you have to be like, okay, you have this vision and it doesn't align with mine. So I can't be my authentic self or you can't be yours. So are we willing to shave off some pieces or to you know, maybe rearrange some things to make this work and to force alignment? Or are we just not meant to align? And it's okay because you can do your thing and I can do mine and we don't have to do it together. There's room for both of us to do it.
And I think people too are so afraid of change.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And change is inevitable.
Yeah.
It is going to happen whether you like it or not, people.
That's
right. So, and
change is like a
honestly
current.
is healthy.
It's
healthy.
It is.
Change is healthy. So embrace it. If you embrace it, it makes it much more fun.
Absolutely.
You know?
It's literally like a current. Like if you fight it, you're gonna get dragged away. You're gonna waste your energy. But if you flow with it,
you're gonna end up exhausted. You can't breathe. You drown a little bit. Swallow some water. Like
which is what you were saying earlier about the way that this movement is showing up in your lives,
Yeah.
where you're not fighting, you're not moving against the current, you're going, you're ebbing and flowing with what's natural, what's meant for you.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're attracting other energies that are wanting
and it doesn't
to kind
mean
of be on
resistance
that vibe
doesn't
with
come
you.
still.
Of course.
Like
I mean,
resistance
that's
still
life.
comes, but it's just like when resistance comes, and understand that that's maybe a shift in direction. That's redirection now rather than rejection.
That's right.
You know, like I see it now as a challenge rather than a struggle. I start using different language. I start manifesting differently. I don't even get frustrated because I'm like, oh, okay, well, just not today. Doesn't mean not forever. Like, yeah, just raining today. And instead, I'm going to go to the beach tomorrow now. So you start to make those minor adjustments rather than get stuck in what isn't. You know, when you get stuck in what isn't, that's not authenticity.
Absolutely.
It's like the truth is that. So you can either flow with it or you can ignore it. And you pay the consequences either way.
Right. And that's where pain comes.
Yeah.
Pain is, it's not the thing. It's your resistance to the thing.
Yeah.
And your resistance to receiving or accepting the thing.
Yeah.
Pain is really a notification. And when you look at it like that, it's
in
just
your
like,
body,
oh, okay,
or in your spirit.
There's something that's not right here. Something's not aligned. Something, and sometimes we can take preventative measures by being intentional about our wellness up front, so that we're not just reactive to it later after pain notified us.
Right.
If I can get ahead of the pain and I can follow the green flags rather than the red ones that I love to toy with and play with, you know, or the yellow ones that I think like, oh no, like, I got enough I can
maybe
slow
I
down.
Can. Yeah.
Like we love to play with fire.
Yes.
It's so attractive to us, you know, until like, you know, we talk about that bull and look at it for like chasing the red, you know, whatever it sees, but it's like, we're doing the same thing.
That's right.
Yeah. So when I start to look at it like that, it's like, okay, what
I've never thought, wait a minute, hold on, stop, slow down.
Yeah.
Okay, you're chasing a bull because that's what they do in bull. What do you call that exercise?
What is
bullfighting or bull? Yeah, because they're like,
where they like pull the red flag.
Yeah,
and that bull cannot stop themselves.
Yeah.
That's all they see is the red flag.
And we talk about that. We think it looks so crazy.
Yeah,
until we realize that's
us.
We play all day with red flags.
Wow,
like we chase them down. Like love us.
Yes.
Like pick us. Like we love to audition, and it's just like, I don't know. I got to a place where I don't want to audition no more.
Yeah.
I just want to show up as myself, and it's just like, hey, you're fit.
Either it happens or it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And not that I'm too good to audition.
That's not.
No, I don't mean that. But I mean, I want you to pick me because you want me, not because like, well, I'm just another number. I'm beyond being another number at this point.
Right. And that
I have
also
specific things.
That also takes us out of being performative.
Yeah.
Because I think so much of what happens today and so much of the frustration and aggravation that people have is around having been performative. Like, I'm performing, I'm doing all this stuff, and you don't see me, you don't, you know, and then there's frustration about that or disappointment.
Yeah.
When in fact, when you show up authentically, you just are. Like you said, you're being. You just are.
To me, it's the scene of Viola Davis taking her makeup off in front of the whole world on
yes,
How to
I
Get Away with
loved that.
Yeah, taking like this stripping
took off
down.
her lashes, took off her
You know, it's Alicia Keys saying, I'm not wearing makeup.
Right.
You know, it's people giving permission to say, you know, I'm going to embrace what's naturally me and let go of all the facades. And I'm not saying the facades don't serve you. You know, there's a time for a turtle to go in the shell and protect itself. And there's a time for it to expose itself, you know? And there's a time for a crab to come out of its shell and be soft for a season until its shell hardens again.
Right.
So we have to go through the cycles of life. But if I come in with a different mindset and I understand that life isn't happening to me, it's happening for me, then again, I'm not so frustrated when life throws me a curveball, when life shifts me just like that. Because I'm like, oh, well, this is life doing what it said it would do. It said my ladder will be greater. So I can't be greater if I'm in the same place. I have to be greater then, and I have to rise up. I have to challenge myself to go further, dig deeper. How do I do that authentically, regularly? It don't mean that every day I'm giving 100%. It means I have to be balanced. So I have to know what I can give and when.
Do you know that we have a line of Shaping Freedom wellness products? Each are beautifully crafted and designed to support you in cherishing your mind, body, emotions, and soul. Carve out a sanctuary in your life with our Luxe sustainable yoga and meditation mats, essential oil candles, and more. Embrace self-care and reflection with every item. lovingly created to enhance your daily practice of spending time on you. Elevate your wellness journey with Shaping Sanctuary collection because you deserve to feel balanced, nurtured, and inspired. Visit shapingsanctuary.com for more information.
Right. There's a word around that where if you, like, there's a costume that we put on, and then there's who we really are, right? And so if we choose, like going back to the Viola Davis example, that's okay, right? She wants to show up the way she wants to show up. She's beautiful either way.
Yeah.
And she's choosing the costume she's going to wear that day.
Yeah.
But it's an external costume.
Yeah.
And she's clearly aligned with and understands that it is an external costume, right? And I think that that's where sometimes we get kind of choked up because we forget who we rely more on the costume than we do on what's on the inside,
or we start believing we are the costume.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what? The word hypocrite, it literally means that. Like, it's literally like hypocrites was Greek for actors, you know, and it meant putting on a mask. And so when you call somebody a hypocrite, that's literally what they're doing.
So what advice do you have, or share a few nuggets if you can? What have you learned personally about self-care and about wellness? Like, how has this, because you're obviously expressing it, you're sharing it, you're showing people how to do it, you're modeling that behavior. And what are some nuggets that you can share with someone listening who might be struggling with like kind of who you were before, right?
I'll say self-care is our responsibility. Like, we really have to see it as our responsibility. It may not have been our fault. It may not have been because of our own doing. It may be hereditary. It could be, you know, just habitual. It could be this is what was passed down. This is what I was taught. This is what I had the capacity for. This is what I was limited to. But it's still our responsibility to knock down those walls and to figure out how to make my self-care a priority. And that could be different for each person. That doesn't mean, again, having to go do some luxurious, you know, retreat to Bali. That could just be every day I'm going to set some time aside for me, whether that's to take a walk or go to the gym or read a book or to meditate, whatever that looks like. And every day I'm going to make sure I prioritize me and I enforce my boundaries and I show up for myself. Every day I'm going to invest in myself in some way, just like I will work on my job. How am I working on my dreams? How am I working on bettering myself in the spaces I'm in? You know, so it's really making it that practical things that you could do habitually so that it is a lifestyle and not this big task that you feel like is going to overwhelm you. You know, when I think when you feel like it's overwhelming, you've already lost.
Right.
Because now you got to like convince your mind to show up too. It's one thing to get your body to show up, but to convince your mind, that's hard.
A whole different
so
thing.
It's just like you have to win here first.
Yeah.
And so I think it starts there when it comes to be greater than. Like, start it with just being.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Ashley?
Yeah, I want to piggyback on that and say that we owe it to ourselves. You know, we really do. We, I think, are taught that we should prioritize ourselves last in everything,
or not prioritize ourselves at all.
At all. Yeah, forget about yourself. Period. But that really it should be the opposite completely. It should start with self. You know,
right. That's right.
So, and my life personally has shifted and changed for the better, and just I feel like you can see it, people can feel it, you know, since I have, and so I'm a living testament of it, you know, like that it does work. But we owe it to ourselves. So I will say, like, for someone, because what you said was someone who maybe is like you, like before all this, when I really started to treat myself like a job, because I work hard for people. I will work hard for people, but I didn't for myself. I feel like I'm about to get emotional. I didn't for myself for so long, you know. But like when I really started to prioritize myself like a job, like literally I was like, clock in. It's Ashley time, you know? Like, it pays off.
It does.
So much. So
it does. I worked in corporate for a long time, and I left corporate in 2008. and I was an executive within financial services. And that was the moment, exactly what you're talking about right now, Ashley. I was like, if I work so hard for people, like I show up and they call me. Yeah. They're like, this thing is going on. Come and work your magic on this thing. And what I recognized and realized is that I had done so much hard work for other people and for these companies that I worked for at the time, and that I hadn't before then been willing to do the same thing for myself. Yeah. And I will share that right now I'm going through a similar evolution because I left corporate in 2008. I've worked for myself ever since. And I've spent the last 12 years getting some things in order, working really hard to support my brother's legacy, support my family, support, a lot of things. And one of the commitments that I made to myself for this year was, once this exhibition was done, once we mic dropped it on January 1st, 2024, I was going to turn back to myself, or turn forward to myself. Because if I work half as hard on shaping freedom as I have to support other, aspects of my life, very important, right? I poured my heart and soul into everything I do. I work really hard. If I were willing to invest half of myself into that, shaping freedom will be where it needs to be. Absolutely. And since I made that decision, and it really was like, as soon as this exhibition's done, as soon as it's done, I'm going to do this. And on the 1st, it was done. And I did this long Facebook post on this last night in the middle of the night because I couldn't sleep. Once it was done, I imagined that I would be done with that and I'd turn around and move right into shaping freedom. Yeah. Well, that's not what happened. Right. Okay. Because then I had to recover and recuperate.
Burnout and all that is
I was really, really burnt out. And I thought that I could just sleep in for a few weekends. I was like, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do anything on the weekends. I'm just going to lay in bed until I feel like getting up, and I'm just going to sleep. Well, that's not how it works. Yeah. Right. And then once I started to fill up enough to where I could move forward, I decided that I'm going to stop doing podcast episodes in my office, shoved up in the middle of a bunch of other back-to-back meetings. We'll all get off the phone, get off the line. I go back to what I'm doing. Everybody else goes back. And then they're waiting for me to do an intro and an outro that I would try to do at 8 and 9 o'clock at night after I've been on Zoom calls from 7 o'clock in the morning. It didn't make sense. And so what I realized is that I'm only going to get back what I'm willing to invest into myself. And since I did that, things just like you all were talking about, all of a sudden, it's like the lights have gone on. You all are sitting here. I'm meeting amazing people. We decided I'm not going to I'm going to come up here. I'm going to treat this podcast the way it deserves to be treated, the way I want it to be treated. I'm going to value it. I'm going to come up here and honor it. Right. And I find that when I walk, God builds a path under my feet.
Absolutely. I think that's the thing. That's the key, is trusting that He'll do that.
That's right.
I think it's easy to trust it when we're like walking on somebody else's path. It's I'm just support here, so I just gotta do my part.
Because they already built the steps.
Yeah. But it's like to jump out on your own. People don't believe that you can do that and still like swim. They think you're gonna sink, and you're told you're gonna sink a lot of times. You're told, oh, you won't make it without me ultimately. They may not say it in those words, but they make you feel that. And it's just like, you have to believe, okay, I know what they said. I know what I even said, but I'm going to be greater than that. Literally. That's right. Literally,
it works for so much.
It literally does. I think for me, I got frustrated because I'm like, as a publicist, it's like I'm a parent at times trying to force my child to get up for school and say, hey, you have to be on air at this time. You need to do your homework and answer those questions. Okay, you need to be presentable when you show up. All these things. It's just like, why am I forcing somebody else to be in a spotlight that they don't want to be? Exactly. Because if they wanted to be in it, I wouldn't have to force them to do it. Exactly. They would show up. So again, to get to a place where I'm telling my story, the very thing that people told me coming up, oh, nobody want to hear your life story. That's the very thing that is now got me in
That is
places
the
like
thing.
here.
Exactly.
You know, that's what has me being greater than sharing my story. So it's just like the whole time we really understood that so many of our insecurities and so many of the battles that we've been fighting since we were kids were trying to stop us from like becoming and maximizing who we are meant to be.
That's right.
And becoming who we are today.
Stay in your place.
Literally, we're learning to get out of our place and
That's
happily do so. I am happy to get out of my lane nowadays and to like take up space and to not come in thinking I have to walk in like this to be respectable.
Right.
No, I want to look you in the eyes and say that, hey, I am just as confident as I desire to be. And I hope you're confident with me being confident.
That's right.
And if not, again, I understand if you have to look away, but don't expect me to look away out of respect for you to make you again feel confident.
Because that's not respect.
No, because I want you to feel comfortable looking me in the eye too, so you can look the next person in the eye. You know?
Right.
And so it's just like I had to show up and be greater than for myself. Because it's like I've done it for others. I've done it for people who love me like more than words can express.
That's right.
And they still are not gonna put me first because they have to put them first. And that's what's right as well.
That's
so understanding that, it's just like, no, so I have to put me first. And then when I do that, I'm not dependent on somebody else to make me a priority. I'm my priority. And now we prioritize ourselves together if we desire to, but I'm not expecting you to prioritize me more than I prioritize myself. I want you to prioritize yourself just as much as I prioritize myself. Then we both gonna do what's best for us together.
So your two poles coming together to make something bigger.
Yeah,
literally.
Than yourselves.
Yeah.
I could talk to you.
We could talk forever about this
all afternoon. So I'm gonna try to find a nice way to just wrap this this part of this conversation up because I have a feeling we're gonna keep on talking. How can we support you? And before you answer that, what's going on right now? What should people what's happening? I know you're doing a game night thing. How can people participate?
Yeah. I'll say follow us at __ on Instagram.
Okay.
We'll always have updates there. We have our full launch coming in August. That'll be our actual full retreat.
Oh, yay.
On August 31st. So stay tuned for that.
Okay.
We have other activities coming up with other partners. We're working with a what is it called? Waste Work, I want to say, a hula hoop company.
Wow.
Girls who like literally they came to our event and they want to do like a hula hoop event. Again, it's fun things like that. We're working with Remember
fun
When
things in wellness.
Yeah, literally. Again, it's not this thing that's so complicated. It's literally just creating community intentionally. You know. And so we have the hula hoop thing coming up. We have a few things. Again, a podcast, a book. If you want to connect with us and if you have a wellness brand and you want to align and partner, do activations, like hit us up. We respond ourselves. We don't have somebody working for us and, checking it for us. Like we literally respond ourselves and we really will consider it. We really want to just grow this community. It's not about our brand being the brand. We're a bridge that's trying to connect all the brands. And so, let's grow together and let's build together.
That's amazing.
And our personal socials too. Mine's Ashley CM Everett.
Randy C Bonds.
You got to get those up.
And Jasmine is Dan's 10. Yes, Jasmine 8.
Okay, we'll put those in the show notes so folks can get those. And very, very last thing, how can we support you?
We're in the process of becoming a 501c3. So soon we'll happily accept donations, sponsorships, partnerships. Again, for us, we just really want to be that bridge that aligns the people who are trying to do wellness with the platforms that promote wellness and the brands that provide wellness. And so if we can, build together, let's do it. And if that means you building with us financially or you building as a brand partner, that means you building, by helping spread the word. We have people like Black Events LA who will spread the word about what we're doing. And they don't make money for posting us on Instagram, but we know that's marketing. That's advertising, and they just willingly do. People like yourself and Shape and Freedom that came out to be a vendor and to to moderate, people who are just giving their time, even to wellness. Just if you want to align with us, let's talk. We're happy to come into your space. We're happy to invite you into ours and see where there's synergy for alignment.
We are looking for things like yoga mats and clothing sponsors and what else,
because we had our cool Be Greater Than shirts and everyone's like, how do we get one? We're like, we only made a few for us. We love to.
And we eventually want to come out with some more merch too, outside of just clothing too.
Okay.
We have a lot on our vision board.
Yeah.
That's
Again, it's not even been a
amazing.
year. We're really just
It's
building
a
as
year.
we grow.
It'll be a year by the time
Yeah.
this goes.
It's
We're at
our
Yeah,
year.
we're at a year, yeah.
This is amazing.
But yeah, it's so much room for growth and development. And we keep saying the sky's not the limit. There is no limit. So
Yeah. The
Just
limit
stay
does not
tuned.
exist.
Literally, we're limitless.
Thank you all so much for coming out to chat.
Thank you for having us.
This has been an amazing conversation.
It
has.
Heartwarming and inspiring. And I wish you all the amazing, great things, that you all know and feel, I know, are coming your way because you've taken this step and this leap to create this work, to leverage this amazing connection that the three of you have, and to share and generously spread this word for people, because it has an impact on them. And then the more people who are impacted positively, the better we all are.
Yeah.
We want spark everywhere.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much for coming. And I wish you all the amazing things are in the future and that are happening right now in the present.
Same to
you.
Yes, ma'am. Hey. Thank you for listening to part 1 of my discussion with Ashley and Randy, 2 of the 3 founders of the Be Greater Than team. Be sure to tune in next week when I speak with Jasmine about her journey as a new mom while also balancing her creativity, being a new entrepreneur, and integrating all 3 into her new life. I'm your host, Lisanne Basquiat. Thank you so much for joining. See you next week.